Unreal Engine. We dive into the HMI design template itself and explore how it can be used to create compelling in-car experiences. Then, put those new skills to work and enter the Unreal Engine HMI Design Challenge. When Sony Ye was looking to create an animated spin-off series for India's most popular sitcom, Gameatronics' experimentation with fast, real-time workflows caught the TV channel's eye. Find out how Unreal Engine helped reduce feedback cycles and slash the cost of production by 65%. Set amidst a surreal dreamscape in Heart Machine's Solar Ash, you play as Rey, a Void Runner determined to stop at nothing to save her planet from falling prey to the Ultravoid's path of eternal hunger. We chatted with studio and creative director Alex Preston about the game's personal and canonical inspirations, how Unreal Engine helped give life to Rey's fluid gameplay, and why he's so happy with how the game's clouds turned out. Continuing on the Epic Online Services learning journey, unlock achievements with the new article, Getting Started with EOS Trophy. This article builds on the previous lessons on stats and leaderboards, allowing you to automatically grant achievements based on stat progress. Head to dev.epicgames.com/news to begin. First up in our community spotlight is the result of years of iteration and hard work. Robert Berg's Nordic Forest biome features a 2x2 kilometer forest of winding paths through forest groves, swamps, lakes, and fields, with everything self-scanned and hand-created. Head over to their ArtStation page to learn more about this outstanding project. In Rob Jin's home, they've aimed to highlight the beauty of our home, the Earth, and use the project as an opportunity to explore the capabilities of Unreal Engine 5. Watch the lovely video in the forums and see a breakdown of their icy environments on their ArtStation page. From Skypire Studios, Evasive Maneuvers is a team-based online multiplayer spaceship arena. Divide into two teams, runners and hunters, and either attempt to escape by powering up the warp gate or prevent the other team from doing so. Wishlist Evasive Maneuvers on Steam. Thanks for watching this week's news and community spotlight.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Inside Unreal. This is a weekly show where we learn, explore, and celebrate everything Unreal. I am your host, Tina, and with me I have the lovely Amanda.
Hey, hey.
And we also have the incredible Tom Looman here with us today, going to be giving us
Hello.
a walk through some C++ gameplay stuff. Very exciting. So, Tom, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and some of the stuff you want to show us today?
Sure. So I'm Tom Lohman. I am an indie developer, and I'm also an Unreal Engine C++ instructor. So I recently released another C++ course, and today I'm going to be walking through the project that we actually make during that course, but also I'm going to show off my own game, but mostly from a C++ gameplay framework perspective. So kind of showing off some code examples that you could probably apply to your own game projects, or at least give you some inspiration to maybe apply to your own stuff.
Very cool. I'm very excited. And of course, chat, if you have any questions, please flood them in the chat there so we can get that Q&A at the very end here. All right. So it's up to you, Tom, wherever you would like to start.
Right. So we'll start with the action roguelike project that I like to call as a action RPG was already taken. And I'm just going to show you a bit of the basics of like building something like an action system or an ability system. Now, I'm not using gameplay ability system. I made my own, and it was also kind of the point of the course is to build one from scratch so you can properly see all the concepts and nothing is hidden from you. And perhaps your game is not that complicated in that you don't need all the power of gas. You can just roll your own system that's a little bit more simple and more tuned to what you need. So in order to give you an idea of what a project is like, so for example, here we have the character, and we have this little sprint ability when I hold down Shift. And so as I hold down the button here, you can just see my character sprinting through the level. and I can have these attacks, or I have this this dash ability, which is sort of like teleport you forward. And so let me quickly show you the basics. As we get into the other project, I'll show it all in more detail, but I'll give you a bit of a brief example of what that will look like. So first of all, you have your character blueprint, and that would implement something like your what I call the action component in terms of with gameplay ability systems would be our gameplay component, and that would have a collection of actions. Now, instead of building all of your code in this one character class, which is something I would also used to do, and at some point you get this giant, enormous class, and you're always in your character class for whatever ability you have. Instead, what we do is we make them individual little assets. So if we go to the content browser, we have the actions folder. Here, these are a bunch of the different actions that we have available. So for example, I have an action to sprint, and I have another effect that I'll show you a little later. That's basically like a buff or debuff in the terms of like an RPG style game. So if you open up something like a sprint, really all it does is it has very basic core functionality, such as like starting of the action and a stopping. You might also want to implement something like ticking as an optional kind of thing. And really the thing you can do is you just initiate this action, and it can run either instantly or maybe over several seconds. Like in this case, it would be active for the duration of the sprint. And then you can just, okay, let's just increase the max walk speed, and we just basically undo that when we stop the action. And then of course we can play some effects. In this case, I'm just adding the little glowy hands to the hands of the character, and then we make sure that we destroy them when we just are done with the effect. So this is the absolute basics of having an action, and the nice thing about it is that it's its own little file. So for example, especially if you're collaborating with someone else, you can just work on this little action sprint, and someone else can be in your character. And that was definitely something that we noticed, especially when we weren't using a system like this, in that whenever I wanted to make a change and someone else also wanted to make a change, it would usually happen to be in one of the core framework classes, like your character or player controller, that was already checked out by someone else, so suddenly you can make a change. Now, you have it all a lot more granular, and there's a lot more natural code reuse. And actually effects, which would be something like a buff or a debuff, would be similar in terms of design. But for example, here what I just do, and I'll show you the actual C++ in a little bit. This would be a very simple effect that just executes a periodic effect, and that would be, in this case, configured to be once every second for a duration of 3 seconds in total. And it will just apply some damage to whoever this effect is applied to. And then we have another concept, which I will also like to explain today, is gameplay tags, which is definitely another one of those things that I really wish I knew about sooner, or someone had told me, like, please just use it instead of being so stubborn, because it's very well implemented in the editor, and like, for example, how easy it is to select different tags, or just